Hello, mathematicians. It's Miss Armgart with another instructional video. Today we are going to look at putting integers and their opposites on a number line. So let's dig in and get started. So in the sandwich artist, which you have already completed, you saw that when making the sandwich and having the symmetry, that is having it the same on both sides, you need to find the opposite of numbers. So if we have 4, the opposite of 4 would be -4. So we start here with the olive at 4. The opposite, the mirror image, would be -4. There would be another olive right here. Same for if you start with the negative, the opposite of -2, so you're starting on the left of 0, would be 2. The same amount of spaces on either side as 0. So I always think of 0 as that's like the mirror. You're looking for like the mirror image, the opposite of. So now let's use a number line and let's write it in words and as an integer. So if we start with 4, and we're going to say, what is the opposite of 4? So we go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if we go in the opposite direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, the opposite of 4 is -4. And the same holds true for the reverse. We went 4 spaces to the left. We have to go 4 spaces to the right. The opposite of -4 is 4. So here's where it gets a little tricky when you have the opposite of 5. So first, I would write down 5. That's our number. We want the opposite. So we're going to start at 5. We want the opposite, which we know is -5. But then we want the opposite of that. So it's like an Uno reverse. So like you lay down the reverse, your friend is like, haha, here's a reverse. They cancel each other out because we're going 5 to the left, and then we want to do the opposite. We have to go from 0 back 5 to the right. So the opposite of an opposite is the same integer, is 5. So a negative of a negative is a positive. Again, that Uno reverse. So what about 0? Can you have a -0? You cannot. 0 does not have a negative or an opposite. 0 is that line, that mirror. So now let's look at some real world situations to see if we can figure this out. So if you have a debit of $25 and a credit of $25. So debit and credit, excuse me, debit and credit mean two different things. Debit means that you have paid for something. So you paid, you owe someone money. So if you wanted to get your Jamba Juice, you have to give money in order to get the Jamba Juice. A credit means someone owes you. So you have a credit with a store, you return some clothes, they're like, here's your store credit. That means they're giving you something back that you can spend at their store. You don't have to pay more money. You have a credit with them. So the debit would be negative, and credit, if someone owes you, would be the opposite. It would be our positive. So if you have a debt of $25, you have -$25. You do not have that money. You owe someone else that money. But if you have a credit, you have a positive $25. You have money coming towards you. All right, so now let's look at this sea level problem again. Let's go back to the weather bear. Sea level is 0 feet. That is our mirror. So if you have 20 feet, if you have the positive 20 feet, you are above sea level. If you are -20, so if you are the opposite down here, well, then you're below sea level. So the integers come in an opposite pair of the positive and the negative. All right, folks, that is the end of this video. Don't forget to fill out your vocabulary. And I am Miss Armgart saying happy solving.